Good evening, everyone. It's Matthew here from HBXL. I'm going to be giving you the demonstration of PlansXpress, Estimator Express, and Health and Safety this evening. There should be a button on the right-hand side of a hand. If you can, just click that so I know you can hear me. It's just, thank you, Mark. And Omran, if you can, that'd be perfect as well. So yeah, what we'll be doing is we'll be kicking off in a minute or so. All right, so I understand that you could be either owning Estimator Express or Plans or Health and Safety, or you're wanting to look at it and purchase as well. Okay. Does anybody have any questions before it starts at all? If you could just type them in, that'd be perfect. I'll answer as best I can. Also, apologies as well if you can hear me drinking in the background. It's just so I don't get a dry throat, that's all. Okay, that was just somebody telling me they couldn't make it. All right, well, no time like the present to start. What I want to do is just go through Estimator Express, the versions you can get, first off, more than anything else, just so that you can understand whether you're going to be more interested in the standard edition, the total toolkit, or the ultimate. Okay, so if I just hop onto the HBXL website. Okay, and if I go to prices, you can look at this later on as well, if we go a little bit too quickly. Okay, and if you just scroll down just a tiny bit there, you'll get to Estimator Express pricing, and then something that says software features and types of work you can estimate. Okay, now the standard edition total toolkit and the ultimate do cover very similar aspects. Okay, so everything from extensions to new buildings, apartments and flats, loft conversions, renovations, so internal and external, maintenance and alterations, groundworks, so the foundations, footings, slabs, pavings and driveways. Okay, all walling, so internal and external, brick and block. Okay, it also does garden walls as well, sleeper walls. Roofing, including dormers and roof windows, windows and doors, internal and external, your conservatories as well. So we have a PVCU bonus pack that we work with a company called Crystal. Okay, your structural openings. Now it's going to be able to quote for the likes of a steel, however you're still going to need the engineering, the engineer's report to sort that out as well. You've got your basic domestic electric, so that's first fix and second fix. Your plastering, painting and decorating, kitchens and bathrooms, basic landscaping, your subcontract quotations, basic domestic plumbing and heating. Okay, and then where the total toolkit and the standard stop and the advanced and the ultimate continues, you're looking at advanced plumbing and heating, so that's underfloor heating systems, boiler systems, RADs. Okay, new basements and retaining walls, office and shop refits, and SIPs and ICFs. Okay, so your structurally insulated panels. Now, you may need the standard edition, but you also may need new basements and retaining walls. What you can do is you don't have to upgrade to the ultimate from the very beginning. Okay, you can add this in at a later date or when you need it. Okay, whether it becomes similar again, you're looking at professional quotes covering letters and T's and C's, automatic production of 80+ professional reports, live material links to the likes of Jewson's, Travis Perkins, Graham, Keyline. Okay, so if you have trade accounts with these, what we can do is we can actually link your prices in. Okay, so there's not going to be any major faffing with prices because your agreed terms will be in the software for you. Okay, it's going to give you a Gantt chart, labor schedules. Okay, it's going to tell you how long the job's going to take and what jobs are going to be in motion as well. You've got the variation and amendment tools. So if you do make any amendments or any variations, what's going to happen is it's going to correlate with the rest of the software. Okay, so it's constantly going to be updating everything else. Okay, so everything speaks together, which is quite handy. You can import and export out of Microsoft Excel and Word, and you can also back up to a cloud and server. Okay, so that's available as well. Where the standard edition stops and the Total Toolkit continues, you're looking at something that's called My Projects. Okay, now My Projects will allow you to combine multiple jobs together, so all your reports, all your Gantt charts are going to be in one place. So if you had a client that wanted to have an extension, a kitchen refit, and a porch built, okay, what would happen is if they wanted you to separate that out into 3 quotes, so they can start picking and choosing which ones they want. Once they've decided which ones they've decided to go ahead with, you can combine them together, so you know all your materials, your labor schedules are going to be in all in one place instead of all over the shop. Okay. Where the Total Toolkit stops and the Ultimate continues down to the very end, we've got something called the Power Pack. Okay, it's an advanced tool. Now, what this does is, if you have a client that wants to have a multi-story fish tank going through the center of their building, God knows why, but one day you may get one, what you'll be able to do is, with the software, you'll be able to create the calculator to be able to maintain and quote for that. Okay, and with a little help from the tech team, you can go ahead with that. And then final 2, you've got the stage payment calculator and the invoice generator. So you can start doing your invoicing for you guys on site. This isn't as powerful as Sage or CIA. However, it's something that gets it to become a lot more professional when you're giving your guys your invoice on site. And then you've got the stage payment calculator. Now, something that takes you 45 minutes to an hour to write out, where you're doing all the calculations over the course of a couple of weeks with VAT and inserts, the software is going to generate all that for you, so it's very beneficial. Okay, I hope that answers the questions on the estimating software. Okay, you've got 2 variations of PlansXpress as well. You've got the Total Toolkit and the Ultimate, and the functionality and features of these are exactly along the same lines of the estimating software. Again, it's going to do everything from easy drag and draw functionality, easy dimensional walls, okay, also dimension walls, sorry, through to additional drawing and architectural symbols, automatic 3D visualizations, compatible with DXF and DWG files, ability to import JPEG, BMP, okay, and then you've also got the JPEG aspect as well, terribly sorry. Where the Total Toolkit stops and the Ultimate continues, you've got something called the Photographic 3D modeling. Okay, so we call it 3D photo visualizer. That allows you to render something into a more realistic image. Okay, and then you've got the likes of the electrics, plumbing and heating placement templates, and converting design hand drawing sketches into SketchXpress. Actually, tell a lie, I think that one's actually been removed now. I don't know why it's still on the website. Now, what we call together PlansXpress and Estimator Express is something we call 3D visual estimating. Okay, so that's just PlansXpress and Estimator Express together. So hopefully that doesn't become too confusing. And we only have one version of health and safety that you're going to see tonight. Okay, does anybody have any questions right now before we go ahead? Champion. Okay. So first off, we're going to go into PlansXpress. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an import, okay, and then what you'll be able to do is I'll show you how to trace over that as well. Okay. So when it comes to PlansXpress, what you'll be doing is you'll be getting a PDF, JPEG bitmap from your client, from the architect, okay, and it will help speed up your estimating time, because instead of you taking off with your hand and trying to work out the scales yourself, the software can do that for you, and it's going to give you a 3D representation of what it's going to look like as well, which is quite handy if you want to become a if you want to give your clients a more visual aspect of how the extension of the house is going to look. And what it can also allow you and grant you is to become a design and build company as well. So you can start doing your designs, you can start handing them in for planning permission as well, because what you can do is with Estimator Express, once you've imported the job, it's going to generate all the building regulation notes for you as well, which is quite handy. Okay, so I know personally that the PDF that I'm going to be dragging in today is an A3 1 to 100. I'm going to drag it onto a plain page as well because I know it's going to be a brand new PDF. So I'm just going to select that, click OK, and then it's going to generate to the correct scale for me. Now, you may have a unique scale. Your client, your architect may have something that says 1 to 250 or 1 to 270, something quite surreal. Okay, now if you have something that wasn't in that box, all you've got to do is just select any template you need, okay, any random template, which is quite handy. And then what you can do is you can go to the scale tab down at the bottom here in the blue. Now, if you just click that once, what you can now do is set the scale to however you like. If I click in, I can generate whatever I need, okay. We do have some in there for you, but I'm just going to leave it like that. You've got the sheet size, anything from A3 to A0 plus, and down to A5, and so on. And you can also change it from landscape to portrait as well. Okay, so you can manipulate this to however you see fit. Now, typically with any package that you would usually do, especially with Word, Excel, and anything that you use on a regular basis, you usually go to the top left-hand corner to drop down and go New, Open, okay, Import, Export. We're not going to do that this time, okay, because you're bringing in an image that doesn't have any information that Estimator Express or PlansXpress can speak to right now. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be bringing in the image alone. So you go into Drawing and Annotation, and then you can go into Image. Now, I know that this is the PDF drawing that I'll have, but that could be anywhere under your desktop, and you can start seeing any other jobs that you're going to be doing. Okay, so if I click Open, it's going to give you an image preview. Okay, so you can start seeing what you're going to be drawing. I'm going to be drawing this extension on the side of the house. Okay, so this one here, and this is my house to begin with. Okay, if I click OK, now the software is going to tell you what you've got to do next. It's got this nice command window down in the bottom left-hand corner. So it's saying give first corner point, which is going to be down here. So as long as you you hover your cursor over the bottom left-hand corner, this little blue box is going to turn up saying origin. Click once, and then you can drag all the way to the top. Now you can see that we've got the PDF in there. It's still got no information. Okay, all it's got is just a nice picture. This could be a picture of my mum and dad for all I know. Okay, but I'm not going to estimate them. All right. Now the one thing you want to make sure more than anything else is as long as you've got a scale on there of what something is in millimeters, it makes your life a whole lot easier. Okay, because knowing the distance between 2 points is going to make sure that you understand which scale that you're actually working off of. And to do that with the software, we have this tab here that says linear dimension. Okay, so that's going to tell you what the distance is between 2 points. And I know that between here and here, that should be 1800. So if I just click once, to make sure that it's nice and straight, I can hold the Shift key so that it goes nice and straight. I can click inside there. And it's telling me that that is exactly 1800, which is perfect. That's what I want to know. Now, the software, you can draw freehand, so you can start doing your own designs, okay? And you can draw freehand over a trace as well. So it's entirely up to you. But making your life a little bit easier, what we do is we have construction lines, okay? Because the software uses something called a snapping tool, and you'll see how that works in a moment. Okay, it's just like when I went to that origin point in the bottom left-hand corner. Okay, so first off, the construction lines are up here. Okay, you've got everything from horizontal to vertical, angular, tangent, perpendicular, and circular as well. So if you have those unique builds or architectural drawings that you need to estimate, you can use this. You can speak to the tech team as well just to make sure that everything's accurate, and we can help you out as well. Okay, so first off, horizontal lines. Actually, no, first I'll do the vertical ones because they're nice and quick. And I'm going to draw this line here for this wall, then internal and external. The reason why I've selected this wall as well is because you're going to be building off of this wall. Now, you've got a couple of doors and windows that, a couple of doors are going to be entering into the extension, plus it gives you something to build off of as well, but I'll make this wall non-estimated, so you can start drawing things that aren't going to be actually estimated within your drawing as well. Now, going to horizontal, just going to go to the outer corner first off, then I'm going to go to these walls as well. And what I can do is, as long as you've got a mouse scroller wheel on your mouse, okay, you can zoom in and you can zoom out, which is quite handy. And if you click down the mouse, you have this little hand that grabs. Oh, and my mouse has decided to throw me all the way up. Okay, but you can start moving yourself around as well. Okay, I don't know why my mouse is doing that. Terribly sorry. What you can do is you can go down to the bottom. Oh, I hope this isn't a constant. Terribly sorry, guys. And there we go. We've got the walls nice and sorted out. Okay. So what we've got now is all of our construction lines in place, and we can start snapping to the corners. But like I said, I wanted to make this wall, first off, I wanted to make it non-estimated. And the way I can do that, all right, is just going to where it says architectural, going to where it says external. So you've got these tabs at the top of the screen here. So you're going to see external walls, internal, feature masonry, doors, windows, openings, stairs, flooring, roofs, extended roof, attic, drainage, all the way through to chimneys and fire stops. Okay, so this first one, going to go external, drop that down. I know it looks like a brick and block cavity wall from here. Okay, so I'll just select brick and block cavity wall. Doesn't really matter how high it is right now because, as I said, it's going to be non-estimated. So what I've done there, I've just selected one that's a single story, and these dimension wizards come up. Now the reason these come up is because this is the information it's going to take into Estimator Express. So this is something I'm going to go through in a little bit more detail in just a second. Okay, but for the benefit of this non-estimated wall, I'm just going to hit accept defaults. Okay, so you're just basically putting in a line for the sake of it right now. And then, as I said, it's going to use a snapping tool. And it snaps directly into that corner whilst my mouse is over the top of it, which is nice and handy. Now, if I click there, as you can see, I've got an arrow pointing right. What that's telling me is that the wall that I've got there, that arrow is pointing to the external wall. If I wanted to go down, the wall is now on the wrong side of my construction line. This can be an accident that anybody can do. Okay, so that's why in the top left-hand corner, if you follow my mouse, we've got justification and external side. The external side's on the right-hand side, however, the justification isn't, and that just means where my corner is. Okay, so if I just change that from left to right, I've now got that external wall on the right-hand side, and I can go all the way down as well, and I can pull that all the way down to the corner, click that in place, and if I right-click, the wall's going to go away. Well, I don't have to click anywhere else, and the wall's not going to appear. Now, to make this non-estimated, all you've got to do is just click once on this wall, go to Modify and Selection, and go Set Selection as Non-Estimated. Okay, and that way then once you've clicked OK, this wall, it's now got no information in the middle of it. It's gone nice and bare, which is quite handy. Everything else you draw after this, again, it will be estimated. It's just this one bit, which is quite handy. Now, going from here, we're going to start building the wall for the extension. Okay, so first off, going to the external wall. You'll know by how your architects design the wall, okay, how you've designed the wall is how it's going to be built. So if I go brick and block cavity wall again, single story, it's going to say it's 2.4 meters high. Now again, these dimension wizards, and I'll go into a little bit more detail now. The reason why you've got the height and the thicknesses is because this is what's going to take into Estimator Express. This is what it's now going to estimate for. Okay, that's the reason why it doesn't have the distances is because you're going to be drawing it out yourself. All right, so if there's any height differences, all you've got to do is just change that 4 to a 3. That's absolutely fine. If you make a mistake, okay, if I accidentally delete this little dot here, it's saying that my wall is 2,400 meters high. Okay, the Lisa software is going to tell you if you've made a little bit of a whoopsie, which is quite handy. And then you've got the thickness of the external wall is 0.1025, and then the internal leaf thickness as well. What we do have for you guys as well is something that we call the Show Tech Tips and Show Tech Labels. So if I were to turn this on, as you can see, every time that you tick a new box, this information in the top right-hand corner is going to tell you exactly what you're changing. Okay, so it's just a little bit of, you may know exactly what you're changing from the images that you're seeing on screen. However, somebody may be learning next to you. Okay, so it's definitely worthwhile. So clicking next, it's going to go then into the foundation details. So we're saying 0.6 meters wide and 0.9 meters deep. Okay, the luxury of this is we have been working on the software for the last 17 years. Okay, so working with the Federation of Master Builders, Guild of Master Craftsmen, companies like this and affiliations like this, we've been able to get most to building reg standard. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of it that you're already dealing with already. Okay, then you've got the luxury of saying, okay, we're going to be using structural concrete thickness, or you may be doing mass concrete thickness, so you may be piling it in, okay, depending on how you do it as a business. And then the software is going to ask, okay, is it going to be plank and strut excavation, so are you going to be supporting it? And what is the bulking of the excavated material? Now, this differs from company to company. Okay, usually it's 1.5 because we understand soil coming out of the ground is going to expand by half. Okay, and if it's concrete, it's usually a bulking factor of 2 because when it goes into the skip, it's not going to have as much space in there as well. All right. Clicking next, going into the footing details. So the splash course depth, brickwork depth below splash course, height of the blockwork to outer leaf, cavity width, cavity fill depth, height of the blockwork to inner leaf, height of the coursing blocks to inner leaf, then height of the trench blocks as well. And the software is going to ask you whether it's going to be insulated and is there a separate DPC. If that's a no, all you've got to do is just change that Y to an N, okay, and then it's not going to quote for it when you put it into Estimator Express. Okay, but for the benefit of the demonstration, I'm going to leave that in as a yes. And the last question it asks is the plastering and decorating. Are you going to be plastering and decorating? Yes. Number of skirting boards to be used on each wall is 1. Is the main wall skirting going to be primed? Is it going to be decorated? So it's going to be taking in your primer in that as well. Okay, and once you've clicked finish, what you can do is you can hit that, and then they're saying give a start point. So I'm going to go right into this corner here, saying my wall's on the wrong side again, so I can just change that justification to left. Okay, and that way now I know I'm going to be going into the internal walls by scrolling in and out. And once that's there, I can then go, which is quite handy, views in 3D, 3D preview, and if I just drag this into the middle and make it just a smidge larger, you can start seeing what we've began to estimate. And again, like I said, this wall is not estimated, okay, everything else is, and you'll see that when we take it into Estimator Express. All right, instead of going jumping back and forth in and out of the actual here we go, in and out of the actual picture itself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few more bits and pieces so we can start seeing it in a much nicer view. Okay, so next off, what we're going to do is I'm going to add a flooring in. So just go to the flooring tab, hit the drop down box, and then you're going to have the list of floors that you can do. Okay, everything from a suspended floor through to a floor cassette, floor slabs, screeding, if you're going to be doing commercial carpeting, floor tiling, depends on what you're going to be doing. Okay, so for this one, just going to go floor slabs, extension slab, and it's going to be unreinforced or reinforced. I'm going to go reinforced for this one. Okay, turn on those tech tips and text labels. Thickness of the sand blinding, thickness of the sub base, thickness of the slab. Okay, is there a damp-proof membrane? If there is, what's the overlap of that? Usually 0.5 meter. Is there insulation to the underside of the slab? Is there reinforcement to the bottom of the slab? Is there reinforcement to the top? Is the slab power float finished? Yes or no? Now on this next page, okay, software's going to ask you the number of hours that you're going to be requiring the excavator, the plate compactor, okay, the wheelbarrow. The reason why it's asking you these questions is because of the undeniable fact that wear and tear happens, okay, and you're going to be paying for a couple of these things as well to have them brought to and from site. Okay, now seems it's all zeroed out is because the software doesn't actually know how big the slab is yet, because it could be something that you can do in a day. It may be something you have to do over the course of 2 days. But it seems you haven't drawn it in yet. It doesn't know. You can add this in yourself if you like, but you can leave it at 0 and the software will do the rest of the work. Okay, so if I hit finish, the software is then telling me give first corner of the floor on supporting wall, so I can go once, second corner, and then instead of going all the way around, I can just drag it all the way down to the bottom, which is quite handy. Oh, I can pop that one in there. Do I want to place perimeter of insulation around the slab? Yes, I do. It's just going to ask me about what the depth of perimeter of insulation is, and then I can start just going around. Oh, sorry again. The corners here. And now, as you can see, that pink line is now turned into a nice grey line as well. All right. Going into the internal wall, hit a drop-down box depending on how you're going to be building this internal wall, whether it's going to be internal cavity block wall, a block wall, or a stud wall, or a metal stud partition. I'm going to be doing that one there. And then I'm going to add in the information that's relevant. Okay, the reason why it's not asking for the area of space in this door opening is because the moment you drop a door in through PlansXpress, software's going to calculate the rest of it. All right, so what we've got there is a wall at 2.4 meters high, 600 mil wide studding centers. Width of the wall is going to be 100 mil. Okay. Does the door opening require timber subframe? Yes or no. Insulation? Yes or no. Allowance for screws and fixings per square meter. Okay, so every per square meter you've got £2 in there for the screws. Okay. Hitting next. Stud wall and plastering details. Is it going to be plastered? Is it going to be decorated? Is there going to be a skirting either side? Yes or no. And once you've hit finish, you can just go in there, click in, go from one side to the other. Okay, and now we've got a nice wall in there as well. Okay, so what we've got now, if I go and views in 3D, is something that looks like this. Okay, so we've got our front wall, back wall, internal wall, our flooring, and our parallel wall as well. Okay, if I hit X, what I can do is I can now add some windows and doors in there. Okay, so first off, let's go with these internal doors. So architectural, go to the doors. I know they're going to be internal. There's going to be a typical panel door. Now the software is going to ask you whether that's going to go into studding or block work. This is going to determine whether you're going to need lintels and such and so on. Okay, so first off, if we go into block work, it's one of those tech tips. So it's going to ask me about the height, the width. If I want to go into the fixing details as well, so I can show tech labels as well. So lintel, frame fixings, okay, casting fixings, lintels bearing each end, casting fixings as well, door fixings. Reveal and jam details, plastering and threshold details, and the decoration specification as well. Okay, are you going to be priming and decorating? Now the luxury is those 4 pages are the exact same with all doors and all windows. It's going to go into the threshold, okay, your decoration, and so on. And once I've hit finished, what I can do is I can start pulling that door in there. I can zoom in, make sure that it's right on point. And then the software is going to ask me whether I want to have the door swinging any which way. And it's going to be swinging in that way. Now what you've not seen me do is put in a structural opening. And the luxury behind that is because the software is going to work that out for you. So you're just going into block work. Okay, so you're not going to have to do the structural opening yourself. The software is going to quit around that. All right. And then again, drop another one in there. Going this way this time. Now, again, we can go into the architectural, we can go into doors, internal doors, and then we can go into studding this time. And again, the exact same information as last time, which is quite handy. You know if it's going to be all the same, you can hit finish, and you can start going and making sure that your door is in the right place. And then views in 3D, you can start seeing some nice white doors there as well, which is handy. All right. Going from here, we're going to have a nice patio door in the back, which is quite handy. So door, patio doors, 1800 mil wide. We select that one. And again, I don't have to reiterate again and again, but it's all the same questions, which is very handy. And the moment you've done that, if you zoom in, the door is going to ask you which way you would like it to slide as well. So I'm going to have it sliding that way, which is handy. And then the front, we get to select a window. Now this can be, oh, no, that's a door, sorry. Just looked like a window then. So this could be anything from softwood all the way through to PVCU. Okay, we do work with Crystal Direct as well, as I said, so you can start choosing and selecting a nice window. Okay, so if I were to do it like that, you can start seeing the windows that we're going to be working with within Crystal Direct as well. And the luxury of Crystal Direct is if you select one of their windows, what they will do is they will manufacture it and they'll get to you on site. Okay, so that's something that we do like. Okay, so you can go first off width, make sure that we've got the correct width there. So I know it's going to be 1800. Okay, and I can still start scrolling through. I can select the color. So if I want it to just be white, we can leave it there as white, or we can have it as black, brown, blue, mahogany, depending on how you want it to look. Okay, the height as well. So we can start saying, okay, then we actually want it to be about, oh, no, that's a little bit too short. There we go, that looks a little bit nicer. Then we can start looking at the windows that we've got here as well. Okay. If I just said, okay, then I want this one here, which is quite handy. I can hit select window, and the software is then going to generate the relevant lintel that it's going to need as well. Okay, so it's going to select it from everything that you've given it, which is quite handy. And then the cavity closers and that as well. So once you've actually ordered it, it comes with everything that you've actually just seen here. And once you hit select and finish, it's going to ask me the relevant information again with my fixing details. And then I can drop that window in there, which is going to be quite handy. And what should happen is if I go into views in 3D, it should look very relevant to how we're going to be estimating as well. Okay. You can start popping in some electrical works as well. So if I go electrical, we can have a couple of double sockets, okay, downstairs. And we can start doing that so they point outwards, if I remember correctly. So at least that way then, you know, you're going to be quoting for your electrics in there as well, which is quite handy and what everybody wants as well. Okay. Last but not least, what you want to do is you want to stick a roof on top as well. So if I go drop down a roof, you can have everything from a cut roof or a truss roof, depending on how you're going to be building it or bringing it in. And then you can start choosing the typical pitch as well. Now, the software is going to give you these 4 pitches. You may have a different pitch, okay, depending on how you're building the house. So for the demonstration, I'm just going to have a typical 35-degree pitch, but you can change it, okay? So if you want it to be, say, 27 degrees, just change it to 27. Now, the reason it's starting to ask you about whether it's got an elevation of a barn hip is because right now it's just asking you whether it's going to be a cut roof or a truss roof. It's going to give you all elements of potentially any roof you could be building, okay? So once you do draw it out and you do get to the very end, it's going to be able to calculate the right roof for you. Okay, so show tech tips. So you've then got height of the gable to underside of the barn hip, thickness of the roof structural information, so soffit width of the gables, soffit width to the eaves. You can go into the timber and the roof strap details, so your roof is out there. Okay, you can see the spacing of the joist noggins. You can see the gable straps at joist level centers. Okay, and it's going to start asking you a lot of the relevant information that you kind of go through yourself. Okay, so going from there, you're going to go into the second roof structural information. Okay, so rafter centers, joist centers. Okay, height of the barge boards as well. Are there eaves fascia barge boards? You can go into the guttering details as well, depending on how much guttering you're going to need. Tiling and insulation information. Okay, so sand and cement point hips. And then last but not least, again, the roof finishes. Are you going to be priming the barge boards and fascias? Yes or no? Decorating barge boards and fascias? Most likely not, because it's usually PVCU. Okay, and that just looks really tacky when you draw it, well, when you paint on it, really. Okay, and once you hit finish, okay, you can either choose an apex roof, a hip roof, apex roof with a barn hip, lean-to roof, or a lean-to roof with a hip end. Okay, if you have wraparound roofs, just give us a call and we can actually help you create those within the software as well. That's actually something that we're actually very good at helping with. Okay, so if I just go lean-to roof for the now, click OK. Software's telling me to indicate the line that the roof is on. So indicate the wall line, sorry. It's going to be this wall here. Go to the outer corner of the building, inner corner of the building for the width, and then, oh, God almighty, terribly sorry guys, and then the length as well. And do I wish to consider the flat ceiling, the vaulted ceiling, purlins, binders, and rainwater pipes at this stage? For the now, I'm just going to go no, okay, just so we can start seeing this in to PlansXpress, to Estimator Express. And as you can see, it's filled in the gable for you as well. So it's going to quote for that. But you've now got your internals. Okay, and the luxury is, if you're going to be plastering the internal wall as well, depending on whether it's going to be a garage or actually a family room, you can start going into the renovation and the, oh, here we go, the plastering and the decoration aspect as well. Okay, but for the benefit, want to speed this along, want to make sure that we can go into Estimator Express now. Okay, and to save this, all you've got to do is just go to the top left-hand corner, hit the nice big floppy disk, which is quite handy. Select a place where we're going to save it. So if I go desktop, I can go Essentials Demonstration, hit save, and now I can close my way out of this. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Estimator Express. Whilst that's loading up, does anybody have any questions right now? Just leave it a couple of moments longer. Okay, no questions. I like that. Must be doing a pretty decent job. Okay, so this is Estimator Express. Okay, we have a fantastic update coming out. I'm not going to be telling you what it is. You're just going to have to wait and see. Okay, but that's coming out in June. Okay, and we are very excited about it. What the software will tell you is what version you own as well, depending on these CDs. Okay, now it's not gospel that if these aren't bright, that it's not on within your software. Okay, so don't live and die by this, but it does give you an idea of what you're running. Okay, so as you can see, I'm running the ultimate version. Okay, so it's going to be showing everything from my PVCU bonus pack through to the renovation. That comes standard anyway. The basements, office and shop refits, my power pack, stage payment, plumbing and heating, SIPs, and the invoice generator. Okay. The software is also going to tell you whether you are actually running the latest version or not by these traffic light symbols. Keep it universal. Okay. If it's in place, it's going to be green. If it's not, it's going to be red. Okay. As you can see, I'm not a builder personally, so I'm not going to have any live merchant links. Okay, so that's why that traffic light is red. Now, when I speak to my clients, first off, when they always use the software, I always tell them to go into the settings tab first. Now, the reason behind this is because this is where you're going to spend the bulk, well, not the bulk, that's a lie, the first 40 minutes to an hour of you owning the software, and that's me being realistic. Okay, and the reason behind this is because if I go into my settings, you can start dictating what your profit and inflation is going to be. So this is going to be your profit in percentages above your labor, plant, material, subcontractor, and sundry items. Now, as standard, the software is going to tell you that it's going to be 30% across the board, but this is when you get to dictate what it's going to be. Okay, and this will be your template for every estimate that you do. However, at the beginning of every estimate as well, it's just going to ask you to confirm it because there may be a client that you want to make a little bit more money off of. We're all, well, you're all human. It's only fair. But if I wanted to change that to say 27%, you're going to see that correlate later on down the line. Then you've got the inflation aspect. Okay, so we understand you may win a job now, but it may not start for 13, 14 weeks. Okay, reason behind this is because if you're estimating a job and you're dealing with winter wages for a bricklayer, and then he's needed in summer, you may be out by 10, 15, 20 pound an hour, potentially, depending on who your bricklayer is. So the software is just making sure that that's going to be a business expense and not a personal one. Same for the material. Material fluctuates everything. Well, it can fluctuate within a week, within a day. It just depends on how your merchants are doing. So you want to make sure, again, that that is a business expense and not a personal one because you don't want to be quoting yourself out. So if I just say that's 13 weeks, that's going to be handy. Okay, I hope that all makes sense. Clicking OK. And then what you really want to go into is something called My Price Books. Now, My Price Books, if I click it up here, you're going to see on the top left-hand side, we've got something called the Master Price Book. Okay, if I double-click that, you're going to have your labor, your material, your plant, your subcontractor, and your sundry items in here. This is where all your prices are. This is why I said you're going to be taking a good 45 minutes to an hour to deal with this. Okay, and the reason behind it is because you want to make sure that your labor prices are correct. The luxury is if you work with Jusons and Travis Perkins, the material is going to be on your side, okay, because we can link into your live accounts. If you don't work with merchants like that, don't worry. The tech team, I can help you manipulate that to be for prices you're actually dealing with right now. Okay, so if I go into labor, hit select, you can start seeing the laborers that we have within the software down the left-hand side. Okay, and they're priced in red, in blue. The price per the hour in red. Okay, if you charge your guys by the day, take this price, split it in, well, take that day price, split it into 8 and stick that in here. Okay, so the software can work it out for you. Now, I know this is a lot of blue to look at, so we do actually have a filters tab at the top there. If I just hit that filters tab, I can go to highlight selected line, so at least from start to finish you can see where you're reading, because if I go to site manager down here, by the time I get up to this point, I don't even know where I'm looking. Okay, so it's quite handy to have this filter in there. Now, to make any amendments, all you've got to do is just select something. So I'm going to select the ground worker, just do a double click, and this box comes up in the middle of the screen. What you're paying in by the hour is the unit cost here. Okay, so if you want to make that change to say £15 an hour, okay, you've got the £15 there. You're going to be paying in by the week. Okay, you're going to stick the VAT on there as well. And once I click OK, that £20 is going to change to 15 quid. Nice and simple, and the software is even going to tell you the last time you amended the price. Okay, it's going to give you the date. To create a brand new ground worker, because you may be working with 2 of them, okay, nice and simple, you can select it and either go to the top and go new resource, or do what you usually do with your computers. You can just right click and it gives you the option immediately. Okay, so new resource. So you've now got ground worker. I'm going to call this guy Philip. Okay, with 2 L's. He's going to be £23 an hour. He's very good at his job. You pay him by the week. He's VAT registered. Click OK. And now Philip's in there at £23, and I created him on April 19th, 2017. Okay, I hope that all makes sense. Jumping from labor into material. Okay, it's not going to be jumping in and jumping out again. What you can do is you can just go up to the top where you have the 2 drop-down boxes. If you hit that drop-down box and go to material, you're going to see the list of materials that we have within the software. Okay, working with Jusons and Travis Perkins, you have access to over 230,000 materials. Now, we're not going to stick all those in there for you, only because, well, your computer would stop and you wouldn't like us very much. Okay, however, what we do have is something up at the top here that says web catalog. So you can actually start dragging in materials from your merchants. Okay, so that'll make life easier. So if you have a particular client that wants a certain French tile for a bathroom, you know that Jusons sell it. However, you can't find it in the software, you can drag it in. Okay, or you can create it by yourself. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so you have both sides of that coin. Finding a particular material. Okay, say that we're going to be going in with, say, bricks, for example. Where it says all up at the top here, again, what you can do is you can start going into bricks. And you can start looking at the bricks that you have within the software. Again, we've got the HBXL price tracker. Okay, that's something that we track alone. We track Jusons, Travis, TradePoint, and Keyline. We track it up and down the country, and we take the average out on the price. All right, and that's what you'll find there. What you'll also find as well is something that says wastage. Now, we understand that when you quote for a wall, you're not going to quote the perfect wall. Okay, because that's the last thing you want. What if a brick is missing? Okay, you just have a hole in the wall. Now, we've got that at 7.5%. So for every 100 bricks that you need, the software is going to tell you, okay, then you're going to need to order 7.5, 8 more. Okay, and the reason behind this is, again, like I said, is to tell you that you're going to be covered for any breakages, for any cutting of bricks that you're going to be needing to do. Okay, that it's all going to be there, which is quite handy. You're not going to see this on the likes of a bathtub or a door, because if you have a 7.5% wastage of a bathtub, you've got a bathtub with 2 holes in it instead of the one that it comes with, really, and that's a broken bathtub. Creating your own materials, again, okay, it's quite simple and quite straightforward, exactly like you would do with the labor. All you'd have to do is just left click, right click, new resource. Okay, and the difference between this is, well, compared to labor than it is to material, is you can start naming the bricks whatever you like. So I can go banana brick. The reason I say banana brick, by the way, is I just seen a banana in front of me. Okay, that's the reason. You can give it a price, so it's going to be 0.35 pence. No, that's too easy. 26 pence, say. Okay, so we've got a 26 pence brick. Unit purchase, we buy these each. Okay, but when it comes down to supplier and contractor, okay, this is when you can start adding in your own suppliers as well. So if you know you're going to be buying this brick from somewhere exotic, say, you can add that place in there. Okay, and for the sake of it, I'm just going to go Cuban merchants. It says Caban as well. Look at that. Even worse. Click OK. Delivery and payment. Okay, depending on how you buy them. So you could be paying for every month, but it gets delivered after 2 weeks. Okay, so 2 weeks for delivery, 2 weeks after for payment. You've got the VAT in there as well, and then you've got your wastage. You can change that wastage as well if you want it as 8%. It's entirely up to you. Okay, and once you've clicked OK, you're going to find you've got that brick in there. You've got your banana brick for 26 pence from Cuban merchants, 8% wastage, and we created it on April 19th, 2017. Now you may be asking why this color is in red and the rest is in blue. We can track the colors that are in blue. Seems you've created this brick, it's something you're going to have to track yourself. So if you pay less for it at one point, you can then you can update that price on your own. Okay, so it makes it quite easy. Last but not least, the one that I do really want to show you, okay, is something that we call your plant. Now, you may see a couple of things in there, you're thinking, why are those in there? Dust sheets, shovels, okay? Sooner or later, somebody's going to break a shovel. Your dust sheets are going to get left out in the rain, and you're going to be buying these, okay? You're going to have them on site. The software is not going to quote £6 and £10 for every dust sheet that you use, okay, or that the software says it's going to be using. However, it may charge 6 pence, 7 pence, 70 pence, 80 pence, here or there, just for your overheads, okay? It goes into your wheelbarrows, okay? Deliveries, parking as well, whether you're going to be needing park on site, your skip permits as well, depending on how much you're paying for your skip permits. The ones you've got to look at as well are the big ones, okay? So the likes of your £350, your £300 ones. We've got a JCB digger in here with a driver for a day is £300. Now, if you're paying, say, £500 a day, okay, for a JCB digger and a man, and you've got the software in here at £300 a day, by the end of the week, you've costed yourself out of £1,000, and you'll feel that, okay? You'll definitely feel that on the wallet. So just make sure that this is correct, okay, especially on the big ones, all right, just to cover you from what you're actually using, okay? So that's your, those are your prices, that's your profit inflation, and now what I want to show you is how the software is going to import estimate that drawing that we've done within Estimator Express. Okay, so just close again, go back, and how to do this is you go into My Estimates. Okay, a brief overview of what this this page is. Okay, you've got the name of the job, so that can be the name of your client. Okay, job number is going to go up in number, so from 1 to whenever Excel finishes. Okay, you can even give it your own job reference number as well. Okay, you can give it your own description as well, so everything from an extension to a garage. You've got a dog's home. You can even have a Cracker Trump's wall if you like. It's entirely up to you. Okay, you've got the cost excluding profit and VAT, cost including profit but excluding VAT. Any comments about the job? We understand that you may be estimating at 1 o'clock in the morning because you need to get something sorted. Okay, so there is a box there so you can leave yourself a comment. So the next time you turn on your software, you can go in and go, all right, actually the subcontractor price needs shifting, plumbing needs reviewing, something like that, because you may have made a mistake. You want to make sure that that doesn't come off as well. So you can just leave yourself almost like a footnote. Okay, the last time that you opened up that job, the last time that you updated the bar chart. Now, as I said, the software is going to give you a Gantt chart. It's going to tell you how long the job is going to take. You may be rained off, rained on. Oh, I don't know where you read. Rained off on certain jobs, so you may have to go back a couple of weeks. Okay, and then you've got the status of the job, whether it's in progress, completed, awaiting customer reply, or an unsuccessful estimate. Okay, you've also got at the top here value of successful estimates against value of current estimates, so you can start seeing exactly how much you're winning against how much you're estimating against. Okay, now creating a brand new estimate. go up to the top and you hit this plus button. Okay, you can give the job a name. All right, so I'm going to go Essentials Demonstration, Job Description. I know it's an extension because that's what I've drawn, so I can go down to Extension. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Import from PlansXpress Drawing. Okay, so I can start going to the desktop, find my Essentials Demonstration, hit Open. I know it looks like the finished flag, but it's in there. Okay, you don't need to have drawn anything within PlansXpress to estimate. You can create a brand new estimate from scratch. Okay, so don't think that you have to have one to use the other. Except if you want to estimate from plans, you're going to need Estimator Express. Okay. Click Next. Where we're going to get the prices from, we've got the master price book. The reason why we've got that Bristol one in there as well is just in case you are an estimating service, you may have multiple clients with different prices. Okay, so instead of having to change the prices every time for a different job, you can have your different businesses that you estimate for in this list. Okay, but if you're a trader and you're a builder on your own in your own company, okay, you're going to just have the master price book. Click Next. Specification. This is speeds of jobs and prices of bricks. Okay, so it just gives it a base price of what you're working from the very beginning. Now the specification is going to go new build specification. You've got everything from an extension specification to renovation, timber frame, site fabrication timber, okay, and so on. You can create your own specifications as well. But for this one, I'm going to go extension specification. And the software is going to update itself to go, okay, then I'm going to be using these certain materials, okay, for your typical extension. Now, roof tiling. You've been going for a plain tile, a pan tile, or a slate. I'll just say it's going to be a slate for this one. Roof guttering, whether it's going to be plastic, rectangular, okay, cast iron, aluminium, zinc, depending on the aesthetic of the house. Fascia barge board and soffit to slope roofs, and then fascia barge board and soffit to flat roofs as well. So you can start seeing whether that's going to be PVCU or softwood, so on and so forth. And then you've got decoration. Are you going to be decorating, okay, or are you not going to be decorating? But as we've drawn it all out saying that we are going to be decorating, you can leave it as a specification. The reason I left external wall brickwork is because you've got everything from a 40 pence brick all the way through to, all the way through to a pound, okay, for a new build. Then you've got an extension and renovation brick as well. What this allows your software to do is from when it actually drops in the size of the estimate that the design drawing that you've done, it's going to be going off of a pound brick or a 40 pence brick or a 70 pence brick. But I'm going to show you how you can change materials by putting in my 26 pence banana brick in a wee while. Okay, so I'm just going to say 55 pence for the sake of it being a, actually let's say 65 brick, for a obvious change in price when you can see it updating itself. Okay, click Next. And you go on to the estimate wizard. Okay, so you can start selecting the groups of workbooks you're going to be using. As you can see, it's flashing PlansXpress import because I've already drawn everything I want to estimate. Okay, however, if you're going to be going from scratch, okay, you can do this and you can select the jobs in a multitude of ways, including if you've already done the drawing within PlansXpress, you can add in multiple jobs from here as well. Okay, so within the filters, if I wanted to type in renovation, okay, what will come up is the renovation workbooks that the software has to offer. Okay, so I can select a couple of these if I'm going to be doing certain renovations. Okay, instead of typing in the job, what I can do is I can go to where it has a drop-down box and I can start selecting, okay, then I want to look at the boilers that we have within the software. So you can start selecting the boilers you're going to be estimating for again. Okay. We've also made life a little bit easier as well. What we've done is we've created templates for you. Okay, so where you've got group of workbooks, you've got the PlansXpress import, the one that I've already drawn. But if you're going to be going from scratch, you've got everything from a house to a bungalow to a renovation. So instead of going through this list and selecting what you do want to estimate, we've put together all the types of jobs that you can go for whilst building a house. Now that's going to select 5 different roofs that you could be deciding to actually build. What your job is to do on the next page is just to basically estimate the jobs that you're going to be doing instead of going through this list. It speeds up a process for you. Okay, and that's what everybody wants. They want it to be quick. They want to be able to get estimates out hand over fist, make sure that you are going to be using your time wisely. Okay, but if I wanted to estimate this attic-shaped wall finishing, this little image here is going to tell you exactly what you're going to be estimating for. So the plastering, the internal decorating, insulation to walls and ceiling, plus with the labor associated with the above. Okay. Clicking next. Going to be selecting a start date for the job. So the Gantt chart is going to be a little bit more accurate. So if I just go, okay, I want this to start in the 26th of June. And the chart type is going to be a small house. It's going to be a large house renovation, small extension. That's what I'm going to use this time. Click next. Pop in the details. So I'm just going to go, Mr. Smith, completely random. Why not? And then you would fill out the relevant information about Mr. Smith. Okay. Click next. Confirming your profit markup. So as you saw me earlier on, changing that template to 27%. I may want to change it to 30 this time because I want to make a little bit more money off the labor. Okay. And then last but not least, your inflation. Okay, making sure that's correct. Once you've hit finish, you get to sit back and allow the software to actually do its work now. Okay, so then it's going to start estimating everything that you've drawn up within PlansXpress. And depending on the size of the job that you've drawn up, compared to what you're going to be estimating, really decides on how long this will take. Okay. Just going to mute a second so I can have a drink of coffee. Okay, so if you have a box come up like this, telling you, okay, the PlansXpress import is now complete. However, you do need to define a few things within the Crystal Direct. Okay, you could just click OK, and it's going to give you a nice big box for you to look at. Okay, which is quite handy. So I'll just double click that there. It's going to pull up a new interface. Okay, it's just telling me that I'm going to be working off of saying house. Okay, but it doesn't really matter what the name of what the software names it. Okay, and now I've got all the relevant information that I need to know about my window. Okay, including all the resources that are going into it. So the window fixings to the sides. Okay, gloss to interior of the window. So it's even giving you the materials that it's going to be using. Okay, but it's saying that something needs to be defined. That will probably be under resources, maybe labor, something like that. So if you do want to see what goes into it, you can just go to view resources output at the top. That's a lot of buzzwords just to say materials used. All right, so what you can do is you can start going into that, and that makes your life a whole lot easier. And then just scrolling down, it's just going to ask you to go into the sundry items, so sealed units, beading, internal lintel, external sill, cavity closure. Okay, and it's just going to ask you this relevant information so you can start filling this out. Now, for the benefit of the speed, I'm just going to go not required to all of it. Okay, just because that way we can carry on. With the demonstration. Click back, close, close again. It's going to ask you whether the workbook is now complete. If it is, you can click yes. And then it's going to tell you it's completed here. The reason it does that is just to tell you that you've looked over it and everything is to scale and is correct to your liking. Okay. What you can see as well is this timestamp. That's quite important because the software is going to save and the job is going to save every time that you've changed something. Okay. Days of old, once you've done something, you had to hit the save button at the top. Okay. Now, if you've been working for, say, 6 hours on an estimate and you'd forgotten to hit that button and your laptop died, you'd go barmy. Now, that's where the software does it automatically. It's the luxury of new software, which is quite handy. Okay. As you can also see, the price of this extension at the moment is £17,463.19. but in brackets underneath it, it's just saying that is excluding VAT and profit. Okay, so that's just a subtotal. All right. Now to change any materials, okay, I'm going to go into the brick and block cavity wall and start using my banana brick. So double click that. Every time I say it, it sounds silly as well. So terribly sorry for naming it a banana brick. So external walls. And as you can see, I drew 4 walls, but I made sure that one of them was non-estimated. That's why you can only see the 3 walls here. So it's going to pick up all the information that I've asked it to. Okay. Now, it's saying that the wall is £6,506 and 80 pence, excluding VAT and profit. Okay, dependent on the materials that are being used as well. Now, if I go to View Resources Output, I can start seeing the materials that are being used. So everything from insulation joining tape to insulation retaining clips, okay, through to your brick and block, even going down to mini digger and driver, shovel, skip needed as well. If you're not going to be using a mini digger and driver and you're going to have somebody digging it out, okay, all you've got to do is just go not required, and then you can add in your own resource at the top as well. So you can add in labor, and it's going to be a guy digging a trench. Okay, so that's fine. You can deal with that. That's not a problem. But as I said, we've got a £6,500 wall. What I'm going to do is I'm going to then go, we've got the facing bricks here, and that's above DPC. Okay, so there are more of these being used. To change the 65 pence brick, all I've got to do is just double click, and it's going to give me a list of the bricks that I have, including my banana brick up at the top. And once I click that, the software is going to ask me one question and one question alone. Usage. How many bricks do you use per meter square? Now you're either going to know this or you're not. Okay, more likely than not you are going to know this. So it's usually between 50 and 60, especially when it comes to bricks anyway. And once you've clicked OK, that £6,500 wall then turns into £5,756 because we've changed the brick and we've got the banana brick in there. Okay, so I hope that answers how you can manipulate and change materials, and you can do the same for your laborers as well with the exact same process. Okay, once you go back, close again. Is this work but now complete? Yes, it is. Perfect. And once you do that over the course of the job, you can then start going into the chart and the reports, and that's what I'm going to go into now. So first off, the chart. We all know that I have not estimated for all of this. Okay, so some of this is going to be inaccurate, but over the course of an entire job, what you've drawn up, what you've estimated for, your chart is going to look something like this. But it seems mine doesn't. I can go in there, I can go to remove unused build phases. So it's going to take out all of this, hit OK, and that's what my chart looks like. Okay, so it looks more realistic now. I can go to edit bar chart, and if I do want to change anything, just say I want to bring this foundations all the way back to the top, all I've got to do is where it says week, I can drag that all the way back to week 1. Doesn't mean I'm going to have to do it with every one. All I've got to do is hit the cascade button and then refresh. So the software is then going to do the rest of it for me, which is quite handy. All right. And you can go in and you can manipulate this as much as you want, just in case you've done the oversight and slabbing and the brickwork shell has been gone by 2 weeks. Okay, so you've got to put that back 2 weeks, hit cascade, hit refresh, and you get the gist. Okay. Going from the chart, we can go to the report section. This is the money end of the software. This is when you're going to start seeing exactly what you can start doing whilst following your own prices, okay, and what you can start seeing exactly how much you're going to be making over the course of the job as well. So first off, you can start seeing your cash flow. So if I just double click down here, and you're going to start seeing the dates you're going to be paying out and the accumulative costs of that as well. Now, if I go and drag down build phase, you can now start seeing exactly what you're going to be doing and what you're going to be paying, okay? And then the accumulative cash. So you can start seeing exactly how your money is going to be moving over the course of the job. Then on the flip side of that, you can start seeing your profit forecast as well. So if I double click that one there, you're going to start seeing what you're making your money, well, how you're making your money over the course of the job and the accumulative cost over that as well. So for that £17,000 job, okay, £17,500 job, you're making for £4,200 at the moment. This is before the rest of the job's going in. Okay, and again, you can drag in your build phase and start seeing exactly what you're making on which part of the jobs. Start talking to your merchants through the software as well, through the likes of materials used. Now, if I double click this one here, what you're going to see is which build phase is going to be used, okay? What materials you're going to be using within that build phase, how much you're actually spending on these, how much you buy the materials for, so the purchase cost, the purchase units as well, so how you buy them in. And then the software is going to tell you the quantity required against the wastage, then the order quantity. So straight into the banana brick, okay? So if I just see, this one here, you start seeing that the quantity required are 17,095 bricks, 1,795 bricks, what the wastage is, so what your order quantity is, so 1,938 bricks, okay? So the item cost is going to be £466.57. You've got a wastage of £37.33, so the overall cost of that is going to be £503.90. All right. Working with Jewson's and Travis Perkins, however, you can start dragging in product codes. So you start seeing the product codes of your materials. What you're not seeing, okay, is the banana brick, okay, because we don't have a product code for that. But you can even see the Crystal Direct product code as well for that window that we drew, what we've requested anyway. Okay, and with that, you can cut and you can paste this onto your own Excel spreadsheets. Okay, you can send this over to Jewson's or Travis or TradePoint, Keyline, and you can say, okay, then these are the materials I need. All right, this is how much I'm paying. This is where I need it, so you can put the address down on there, and you can even put the date on there as well. Okay, so you've got delivery, payment terms, due date, everything like that, something that you can keep on top of and you can use to your advantage to make sure that your trips to the merchants aren't constant. Okay, and well, with that as well, you can probably haggle some better prices as well. Close that report. Showing you the stage payment calculator. Okay, we've got the stage payment calculator up there. Like I said, you may be spending 45 minutes to an hour trying to calculate all this out. That's the last thing you want to be doing. So we've got the stage payment calculator up there. One click, you can start telling the software, okay then, I want it to be either at the start or the end of build phases, or I want it to be an interim period of every 4 days. You can change it to every 5 days if you wanted to. Okay, start the billing date. You can say it's going to be the 26th of June. Okay, you can add your sales price, including inflation or not. The moment you hit print, the software is then going to generate it for you. So within a matter of clicks, what I've been able to do is generate this. Okay, saves you typing it out. So the date, excluding VAT, including VAT. So you can clearly see that these are the prices that you've got to be paying. These are the build phases that we're going to be using, okay, and what's going to be done within these payments. And then it's got the total cost, including VATs, going up to 25,000, which is quite handy. Okay, and then your final quote as well, what you're going to be handing over to the client. So you've got your quote wizard. It's just telling me right now that I've not put enough information about Mr. Smith. I can hit yes. We've now got your quote's going to look something like this. It's going to have a header, a heading, sorry, a brief description, materials that are going to be going into it, and the total cost, well, excluding that as well. So you're going to have your phase totals in there as well. Now, you can take out these phase totals. Oh, sorry, these phase totals. You can take out these build phase photo pictures as well. You can take out the order quantities, and you can take out the materials. Okay, it's entirely up to you how you want this quote to look. It's completely manipulative. Okay, you can make it look however you like. But for the benefit of the demonstration, I'm going to show you as much as possible. Okay. What you would do is you'd actually hit more the first time you've ever done this as well. The reason behind this is because you want to go into preferences. You want to build it up for your own company. Okay, so you have your opening paragraph. So you can start putting your own introductory statement. You've got your closing paragraph, which will probably be your terms and conditions. Okay. These pictures and these descriptions, you can change that under edit text. Okay. So you can even put in your own photos as well, which is quite handy. Under page setup, you're going to have your headers, your footers, your company logos, any affiliations that you have as well. Okay. Depending on how you're going to be estimating, you can even select which resources are going to be in your quote. So you may only want to do a labor-only quote. So you just be quoting the labor. But once you hit print, it's going to add your profit, it's going to add your VAT, you're going to click OK, and the software is going to generate the quote for you as well. This can be as comprehensive as you like or as minimal as you like. As I said, it's entirely up to you. Okay, what we've done is we've given you a very comprehensive template to work from. Now what we've got here is your company logo will look something a little bit nicer than this. Mine's an A4 picture of HBXL. Okay, you've got the extension for Mr. Smith at site address. You can have your header and your footer, your introductory statement that you can sign off yourself. And then your quote's going to look something like this. So if I just zoom in a second, just scroll down. So you're going to have the foundations, a brief description of the foundations, a nice picture, the material, the labor, your plant, and the total cost excluding VAT for that as well. Now, as I said, you can still manipulate it from here. You can take out as much as you want. You can delete that. You can add in with tea and biscuits. It's entirely up to you. Biscuitas. Making it sound a little bit more Spanish. You can delete these photos. Okay, so as I said, you want to make this as ideal for you and your business. Okay, you can even take out this information here as well, which is quite handy. If you don't want it, take it out. Okay. And then it's going to go in chronological order of how the build is going to happen as well. So your foundations, your footings, oversight and slabbing, the brickwork shell. Okay. Then it's going to go into the roof structure, any structural openings that need to be happening, the roof tiling, electrical first fix, joinery first fix, plastering, electrical second fix, joinery second fix. Then at the very end, internal decoration, what goes into that, the completion, and then it's going to start giving you the prices as well. So total cost excluding VAT, what the VAT is, and the total cost including VAT as well. And if you're a client and you're happy about this, there's a nice acceptance of estimate and variation tab. You can even change the name of that if you want to. It's entirely up to you. And there's a second one as well. So you're both agreeing and you're both signing it off. So your client can come back to you and say, where's the ceramic dolphin on top of the garage? And you can say, look, you said you were going to pay me at this date. Where's the money? Okay. And that's Estimator Express as well. Last but not least, what I've got to show you tonight is health and safety. Okay. One of the most important things that is basically swooping across the building game at the moment. Okay, I don't know whether a lot of you are aware of what happens when the HSE go on site and they write you a letter. It's something like 70, 80 pounds an hour for them writing you a letter now that you have to pay, which is, well, it's god awful really. But what also happens as well is the moment you have a report put against you, if somebody were to Google your business, the first thing that comes up is the health and safety problem or health and safety situation that came up and appeared within your business. Okay, so that's something that you definitely don't want to have, because that's just bad publicity. Okay, so we're going to have the Health and Safety Xpert 2017, so CDM Regs 2015, which is quite handy. Every time that the software gets updated, all right, it's only because that, well, the HSE have decided to do their bit. Now, what you want to do is you either want to go new project, open project, import estimate. So that job that we were doing earlier on, Mr. Smith, I'm going to import that. Okay, so I can go import estimate, and you've got the essentials demonstration there. So you click next. Step 2, select the build phases that you would like to include in the import. Okay, so as you can see, it's selected everything that I've done. Okay, and the moment I hit finished, it's going to then start generating the health and safety for me. Okay, it's not going to do everything. There are some things that it's telling me that it can't import my logo. That's fine. Okay, it's not going to do everything because there are some things that the software is not going to be able to pick up. Okay, that you're going to have to do some manual writing for, as well as you're going to have to be speaking to the principal designer and so on. Okay, now as you can see, the project name is the Essentials Demonstration. The client is Mr. Smith, and I would be able to add in his details there. Okay, depending on who your client is. You may have a multiple client, okay, so you can have their details in there multiple times. Site address, okay, I'm just going to be using 15 Wexford Road, it's Bristolian Road, which is quite handy. Building company is going to be my company, so it's going to be Matthew Allan, Pritchard Street, BS2. Okay, who's the health and safety director within your company? Okay, that's going to be me this time. Who's the principal designer? That's going to be my colleague Josh. Who's the principal contractor? That's going to be my colleague Mark. And who's the HSC that we're going to be using? Okay. As you can see, if yours isn't in this nice little list here, don't worry. If you hit browse for more, you're going to find every HSC in the UK in there, which is quite handy. But the luxury is Bristol was in there, so we've got that one. Now, we work with an external health and safety company. We work with people to generate this. So as you can see, you've got these useful links to the Health and Safety Executive, so the HSC. Okay, so you've got their homepage, their cost information, responsibilities and duties for various roles. So if you want to know what the principal designer's job is or the principal contractor's job is, okay, you can have that and you can start reading up on what they're meant to do within your company. Okay, you've got your construction phase plan, the simple version. Okay, we do have a simple version ourselves in the management documentation, but that takes you to the HSC page as well. Okay, and you've got your F10 notification as well. So any questions that you may need to have answered, you can click these links. If you can't find what you're looking for, okay, give us a call and we can pass you over to the right HSC, the right health and safety guy within the company. Okay. Going from here, the software is going to help you generate a nice health and safety policy as well. So because every company needs one now. Now, every time that you see one of these pencils, that just means you need to do a little bit of writing, or potentially it's going to give you an idea of what everything is. Okay, so first off, about this policy. What this is telling me is that Part A is making a statement or general declaration based on your obligations under the Health and Safety Work Act. Part B is this explains organization and the chain of responsibility for the health and safety and welfare within the company. And then Part C, this deals with the arrangements that have been made by the company. It should identify the particular hazards that are applicable to your specific activities. Okay, now that sounds like a lot of writing, and I don't blame you if you're thinking, oh God, do I really have to do that? But that's why the software is so quick, and that's why we've made it for you. Okay, so the first off, the health and safety policy. Hitting that pencil, as you can see, we've done the writing for you, which is quite handy. It's going to pick up your company name. It's also going to pick up the name of your health and safety director that you've got stated within the software. Okay, so you don't have to write anything. The moment you've hit print, as long as you've got the health and safety director to sign it and date it, you're smithing, your quid's in. Okay. Then you've got the responsibilities and duties. You can go down this list. Organizational chart. Again, you've got the managing director, the contracts manager, site manager, contractors, and employees. These may change, so you can add in your own contractors at any time. Okay. But again, it's going to pick up the names from what you've already got within the software. Okay. Company's duties. It's just a description of what the company's duties will, so far as is reasonable practice. Okay. This is what it states. You don't have to write anything, which is quite handy. And you'll find that with a lot of it. Chain of responsibility. You can start seeing that the overall responsibility for health and safety lies with the board of directors. And it gives a description about that. Then it goes to the safety director's duties, contract manager duties, all operatives, contract declaration. Okay. And you start going into the arrangements for health and safety as well, CDM post holders duties, temporary works demolition, excavations and earthworks in confined spaces. If I hit this pencil here, it's given a brief description within your Health and Safety Act, what you should oblige by. Okay, and once you hit print or preview, okay, if I hit preview, make it look a little bit nicer. should stick it once it's loaded up. Brilliant. This is what your health and safety policy is going to look like, which is quite handy. It's 25 pages long. So the luxury is you don't have to do it for every job. Okay, as long as you update it every couple of months, all right, that's all that matters. Okay, so you can start seeing the intro, reviewing procedures, okay, the date, the name, and the signature. It's even telling you there. This policy should be formally reviewed at least every 12 months by the company's board of directors. Okay, so it says every 12 months. Part A, health and safety policy statement, general policy statement, company name. It's not picked up my company name, but it's picked up Matt Allan, the health and safety director. Okay, so obviously within the project details, I haven't filled it in properly. Okay, but then I can sign it and date it, and then it will go off under the organizational charts, and then so on under the site managers, the contract managers' duties and such. Okay. Going from here, you want to go into the pre-construction information. Now, this is something you're going to be talking with the principal designer, okay? And that's usually the architect. Now, the reason why you'll have this discussion with the architect is because your architect has to provide health and safety for their drawings. Because if they design a confined space and you've got to then build it, or you've got to work within it, that's something that they're going to have to make you aware of. Okay, but they've also got to state exactly when their health and safety stops. Okay, so it's usually when, oh, by the way, my health and safety stops when you break ground. You're like, all right, then okay, then I can start providing my own health and safety. But this is something that they're going to have to fill in, and you can use that. You can email the questions and you can have it filled out. Okay, so project description, including client brief, what they've gone through with the client, key dates, so starting jobs, when their health and safety finishes, proposed use of the structure as well. Is it going to be a living facility? Is it going to be a kitchen? Existing records and plans, something that they will have access to, and then again the client brief as well. Okay, what you've got then is client's considerations and management requirements. Hit that pencil there. You've got the planning and managing the project, including health and safety goals. So this work shall be carried out at all times in accordance with the company health and safety policy that we've already gone through. Communication and liaison between clients and others. So you're going to have numbers here. You're going to have email addresses, depending on how you're communicating with the relevant people. Okay, site security, is it going to be a 6-foot fence? Is it going to be a man and a dog? Okay, so depending on how it's going to be looking, okay, depends on what you're going to be writing in there as well. Everybody thinks you've got to write lines and lines and lines of information. You don't have to. Keep it simple, keep it short, okay, keep it to the point. And that's what the HSC like more than anything else. As long as you're covering it, it doesn't matter whether it's going to be written by an A-star student or somebody with 17 diplomas, or written by Joe Bloggs. As long as it's saying, okay, then we're going to have a 6-foot fence going around the perimeter, brilliant, that's all it needs. Welfare provision. Is hot water and cold water going to be provided? Okay, are you going to be able to use a toilet? Okay, are you going to have to buy one? Are you going to have to get one on site? Site hoarding requirements. Where are you going to be storing your materials, your tools and that as well? Site transport and arrangement. Okay, vehicle movement restrictions. Are you working up a one-way street? Can you only come in one way? Okay, client permit to work systems as well. Fire precautions, emergency procedures and means of escape as well. Where are you going to go? And then areas designated as confined spaces as well. And then your smoking and parking restrictions. Once you've filled that in, you've got the environmental restrictions and existing on-site risks. Again, boundaries and access. Are you going to be only able to get in from the front garden? Is everything just a super tight terraced area? Okay. Restrictions on deliveries, waste collection and storage. Again, is it going to be a one-way street? Adjacent land usage. Are you next to a farm? Are you next to an industrial power plant? Are you next to a McDonald's, which is probably like the industrial power plant? Okay. You've got existing storage of hazardous materials. If you're going to be going on site, how are you going to be dealing with that? Okay. Location of existing services as well. Ground conditions, underground structures and water courses, depending on what you're going to be working on. Existing structures as well, what you're going to have to be ripping down, putting up. Previous structural modifications. If somebody's already done work on it, what is it? So you're going to be able to be making aware that you may be putting things in jeopardy as well. You've got your fire damage, ground shrinkage, movement or poor maintenance, difficulties relating to plant and equipment in the premises, health and safety information contained in earlier design, construction or as-built drawings. So as you can see, this is again something that you would be going through with your principal designer. And last but not least, significant design and construction hazards. Again, we've done the writing for you. So with this one, it's quite handy and nice, but again, just fill out the relevant information that needs doing. And I'll be totally honest with you, right? The most writing you're going to be doing is going to be mostly done with you and the principal designer in this section, which is quite handy. Okay, going from here, I'm just going to jump over the risk assessments and cost sheets. Okay, I'm just going to jump over to the construction phase plan. Now, description of the project, you're going to find that's actually quite similar to the pre-construction information. Okay, again, so project description, key dates, existing structures, ground conditions, and existing traffic systems. Now, you can copy and paste if you like. It's entirely up to you. Okay, but you can also add in different information as well that you know you're going to be providing. However, when it goes down to the management structure, it's going to start putting in the information again, what you've already put into the software once. Do it once at the very beginning. You don't have to do it again for every health and safety document that you do, which is quite handy because every client that you create, every director that you create, every contractor you create is going to be saved and it's going to pick up. Okay, you've got the management of work as well. We've done all that writing for you, so your health and safety goals, monitoring and reviewing, liaisons between parties on site. If you can see it filled in, you don't have to fill it in, which is quite handy. If it's empty, just have a look. Okay, see if there is anything that you have to write. Contact names. So you're going to have the local authority. Who is that? So the Bristol City Council. Environment Agency. So it's going to be the Southwest. Risk assessment assessor, depending on who that's going to be as well. Okay, you've got the designer details. Add additional designers to your project. Contractor details. Who are the contractors you're going to be using? Who are the companies that your client are currently working with at the moment? So your gas, your electricity, water, telecoms, cable and wireless, traffic control. Okay, information that's quite handy because if you rupture something or break something, you're going to have to give them a call to get them out there. Okay, so it's definitely worthwhile having that. And then the emergency services. What's the local police station? What's the local fire station? What's the local hospital? If you're working within your own city, this is going to stay the same, which is quite handy and nice. If you're going to be working elsewhere around the country, it's definitely worthwhile updating this a lot. Okay, because if something gets stolen, you want to know where the nearest police station is. If somebody gets hurt, you want to know where the nearest hospital is. And if somebody's smoking near asbestos, you want to make sure, well, actually asbestos doesn't burn. If they're just smoking in general next to something that's quite flammable, okay, like propane, then yeah, you're going to want to know where the nearest fire station is. Okay, and then you've got arrangements for controlling significant safety risks in there as well. Okay, adjacent land use, again, that's something you can fill out. Okay, but everything else is filled out for you. And then arrangements for controlling significant health risks as well. Again, we've helped you there as well. All right. Now going from there, I want to show you some of the risk assessments. Again, we use this traffic light system. The HSE like it, we like it, it's universal. Okay, so first off, excavations. Okay, so if I wanted to preview what that looked like, you can start making that a little bit bigger. And if I zoomed in here, you've got the activity there, you've got the hazard, you've got the risks that can be, what that can happen, you've got your pre-control risks, what the control measures are going to be, post-control risks. Okay, so if it's 36 and it goes down to 1, you've done a pretty darn good job. Okay, and then the comments as well. So inspection register to be completed as per CDM Regs 2015. You'll find your inspection register within our management documentation. Okay, and then you can start seeing the other ones as well, the services, the contaminants as well. All right, and as long as it's signed and dated by the Health and Safety Director, that's absolutely fine because you're going to have a sheet that your contractors are going to be able to sign, your guys on site are going to sign to make sure that they have seen the risk assessments and the cost sheets that you've provided. Okay, get them to sign it off because if they end up falling into the excavation after they've signed off the risk assessment, okay, That way then it's not in your hands anymore, it's on theirs. Okay, so common sense. Going from excavations, we can go down, we can start looking at, say, buried services. Okay, look at the preview there. Zoom in again. So you've got underground services, contact with underground power cables, rupture of gas pipes leading to leaks, fires, or explosions. Okay, pre-control risks, what the control measures are prior to commencement of excavation. All public and local utilities will be requested to provide information of services in the ground proposed to work area. Get those post-control risk ratings. So it goes from 30 down to 12. You still, if you put a shovel through an electric wire, that's almost impossible to try and get away from. So there's still going to be, well, there's still going to be a danger there. Okay, even if these control measures are in place. Okay, and again, sign and date it. Get you guys to look at it. Make sure that your hands are clean. All right. Going from the risk assessments, we've got the cost assessments. So we've got, say, Portland cement. Have a look at that one. This is quite a funny looking one as well, which is quite handy. So if I just zoom that in, we've got the substance. It's Portland cement, known as cement powder, obviously. Description, an odorless white grey powder, mainly insoluble in water. Application, are you going to be using it by hand, machine, indoor, outdoor, brush or spray? No. So it's just telling you the application of it. People at risk, site operatives, nobody else should be at risk. All right, the controlled ingredients, the hazards, okay, PPE, risk of assessments as well. Storage, okay, sweep up if spilled of dry powder and reuse, okay. Wash down mixing area with water, wash skin if concrete or mortar gets inside gloves or boots. The first aid one's quite funny, okay, so if it gets into your skin, actually that's not too funny, or your eyes, but then it does say ingestion. Okay, so if you've got somebody on site that's decided to eat the cement, to be totally honest with you, I think you're doing the world a service by not calling anyone. But yeah, do not induce vomiting, okay, because the lime in the cement will tear up the throat, so that's going to be quite bad. All right, but drink plenty of water and then seek medical advice. All right, and maybe a little bit of therapy as well. Risk and safety phrases. This is something that's come in from America. You're not going to find risk and safety phrases on all your materials. You're going to find it on some and not others. Once the HSE updates that, we update it for you, which is quite handy. Okay. So if there isn't anything written in there, that just means the HSE haven't updated it yet, and there's no need for them. All right. But again, sign it and date it. Your quid's in, and then you can start looking at anything else as well. So say mortar, brick dust. Okay. Again, same process. Substance, application, people at risk, controlled ingredients, the hazards, all the way through to storage and first aid as well. It even says first aid ingestion, so you may have somebody on site that likes to put things in their mouths. Okay, but unlikely. Remove patient to fresh air, give sips of water. All right. And then sign it and date it. We do have method statement templates in there for you. Okay, so you may have a client that wants to have a method statement given to them. So we've helped create those for you. So you've got industrial unit roofing, brick paving in pedestrian area, confined spaces. Okay, I don't know whether you're aware, but you don't have to provide a method statement to a domestic client. Okay, to a commercial client, yeah, you definitely have to. Okay, however, unless asked, you don't have to provide one. So that's why we have these there. If you need any help writing them up, give us a call and we'll be happy to help over the phone. Okay. Going from method statements, you can go to the management documentation. Okay. So you're going to have your site attendance register, your cost assessment request, acknowledgement of risk assessments. Okay. So get you guys to sign that off and you're going to be in safe hands. Okay. If they do anything stupid. Site induction register as well. Working at height permits, confined space work permit. Okay, so you can update these things with your guys on site. PPE register as well. As long as you have this on site, once the HSE come along, they'll be asking for certain things like this, like a site audit, okay, site inspection checklist, your toolbox talk register. So if he sees a guy with a disc cutter going at a shovel, okay, it's going to ask you, okay, then does that person know exactly what he's doing? Okay, and as long as you've got that toolbook register and you've got it signed off by that person, you're in safe hands. Okay, because if he ends up he signs it off saying yes, I can use a disc cutter, and he puts it through his boot, he can't come at you and go, by the way, it was your fault. Okay, because his signature states that he's now in control of his own health and safety on site. Okay, after you've given him every opportunity to sign them off. Okay, you've got your construction design and management regulations 2015, so you can start seeing the information behind that. You've also got your breach of health and safety procedures, so depending on how lenient you are as a business owner, okay, depends on how many times you might be able to break that. And then you've also got your simple construction phase plan. Like I said, we've got our own simple one for you, but there's also the link into the HSC as well. And last but not least, the one thing that you have to provide is the health and safety file. And that's a description of work that's been carried out. So it's something that you would provide to your client, certainly so that the next person that goes in behind you, the next building company goes in behind you, they know the work that you've done. Okay, so they know exactly what health and safety you've carried out. You've got the hazards that have not been eliminated through the design and construction process. Key structural principles as well. Okay, there may be, for example, bracing of sources of substantial stored energy. Okay, so just in case you're working on a basement and the walls may buckle. Okay, so you've got your trestles holding everything up, and you've got somebody walking in there and thinking about going to be ripping them down. So just make them aware as to why it's going to be in there. Okay, hazardous materials used. Information regarding the removal of dismantling of installed plant and equipment. Health and safety information about equipment provided for cleaning or maintaining the structure. The nature, location, and markings of significant services. And then information as-built drawings of the building, its plant and equipment. Okay. Once you have all that information, you just print it off, you'd hand it over to your client, and then you'd be able to leave. All right. And that, everybody, is Estimator Express, PlansXpress, and Health and Safety, something we call the Essentials Toolkit. Okay. At this point, does anybody have any questions? So there aren't any questions? Okay, guys. Well, thank you ever so much for coming to the demonstration. Okay. If anybody does have any questions further, please give us a call. We'll be happy to help over the phone. Okay. I don't know whether you're aware, however, but attending this demonstration, we are doing a bit of a deal on the Essentials Toolkit. Now, if you buy Estimator Express and PlansXpress, we're going to be giving you health and safety for free. Okay, so that's a £1,791, excluding VAT. Okay, it's a saving of about £700, £800. Okay, actually, I think it's a little bit more than that, depending on which version you buy. Okay. Until then, I'll get the guys to give you a call to get in contact to ask you any questions that you may have. Okay, but until then, thank you ever so much for your time this evening. Have a very good night.